I'm an old school R&B girl when I'm around the house. That's just what calms me. Tina Marie, Sade. Why you laughing?
Because I've been in the house when you have it on. My next guest is someone that is very special to me, part of my chosen family, and someone that I have known a very long time. You know her as Trace Lysette, who is an actress on shows like Transparent, David Makes Man, movies like Hustlers. Okay, she's been named this year alone as one of the 50 people leading the nation towards equality from Queerty magazine. We're going to talk to her about all those things, plus she's going to talk to us first about her single self-made bitch. So here she is, Trace Lysette. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Logo Live. I'm so happy to have you. I know you were like one of the first people I told about getting this show, so I'm so happy to have you on.
I know it took a minute. I'm sorry about that because I'm just a busy girl, but
she's booked and busy.
I would not have missed this.
What are you giving? What is she giving Logo Live today? With the look, with the inspiration, what is it?
You know, just a little sensible around the way Banshee cunt, you know, with a little faux trench coat moment and a little bling and a high bun, you know?
Yes, we love the high bun. Before I get into any questions about the song and all that, we got to talk about the world right now. So being an LGBTQ plus American is always kind of an interesting situation, but how do you feel being a part of the community right now and what's going on in the world?
There's two sides to it for me. Obviously, I'm always in the fight for the long haul. I mean, that's just a part of my existence, right? It's engraved in my DNA to fight, to let the world know that we're here. I think any marginalized group right now is really feeling it. And the other side of that coin is learning how to practice self-care and knowing when to stop scrolling, knowing when to check out and be like, no, my joy is more important. They're not going to run me mad.
In this, past 4 years, you've had a role on Transparent, you've been in Disclosure, now you're executive producing a documentary about what it feels like to be trans in Trump's America. How do the artist, the creative, how do you channel that in what's going on in the world today?
With Trans in Trumpland, we're just really trying to shine light on states that have been really aggressively trying to erase trans people. And so to me, that my art is always my activism, in whether it's big or small. That's just kind of like, that's my MO. That's what makes me tick.
You popped onto the scene very much with a big splash in your role in Transparent. You were dating in the show a cis heterosexual man, and a lot of people have called it a real shifting point in trans representation on TV when it comes to love, etc. You just tweeted recently about a film that you are trying to get money for to be made, and you talked about how you're looking for a leading man. What is it, one, that y'all are looking for, and two, why has nobody jumped on it? Because there's so, with Transparent, with all of these other things, why aren't there cis men just jumping to be in a movie with you and Rain Valdez?
I can tell you what I think it is. We were told by my agency that it would just be a safer bet if we could attach a big leading male to play opposite myself and Rain in order to go in front of these investors who have the coin, who can make the thing happen, right? Finding any guy is not a problem. Finding a big name, leading male in Hollywood who wants to take this on, who is comfortable enough to act opposite a trans woman and do love scenes and all the tea, that to me has been a challenge. We've taken, I think, 3 or 4 no's from some household names, and it's unfortunate because I don't think they realize all the benefits that could happen from it. Maybe they just don't get it. They would jump at the chance to play us and try to win an Oscar. But when it comes to playing opposite an actual trans woman and going there, of like sexuality and all of it, there is, I think, I'm speculating, hesitation. None of them said that, but you wonder, why has it been 2 years, 3 years since this film has been trying to get off the ground? I'm all about working with people that come to me who want to work with Trace. I don't want to chase people anymore. I've done that my whole life. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. This is where it's at. If you want to come get in the sauce, let's make some, you know?
Speaking of make some, and getting into the sauce, your single drops tomorrow or tonight if you stay up long enough. Can you tell us how the single came about and when Trace the Raptress was born?
Yes. Yeah, my debut single, SMB, Self-Made Bitch. It's gonna drop this Friday. Music had been in the cards. I had been asking for a way to kind of like guide me into that space because I knew there was more than just acting in my bones. I knew it. And I grew up on hip hop and I wasn't sure if it would come in the form, or how it would come, but it came through a movie. And Venus as a Boy, which is a feature that we're trying to find a home for right now. They asked me, would you want to do a song? And I was like, yeah, if I can write it, because I'm not going to spit some bullshit. So let me write it and let's do it. Because I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to jump into this. I wrote poetry in the past and it was cool to have it come about. I think the reason it didn't happen sooner is because when I think about music and when I think about hip hop specifically, the avenues for women, for even cis women, have been so slim. They only make room for so many women in the hip hop space. It's very male dominated. And when you're a trans woman, who's lending that helping hand? Nobody, I mean, for whatever reason, we could maybe speculate again what that might be. The resources have not been there. There's not that hot male producer that's looking for that next trans raptress. It's just not happening. Like, I kind of took the reins after our first studio session and I wanted to find like a better studio and a really, experienced engineer to lay down the final track. And even with that, I had a couple that just ghosted me after the initial contact because I think maybe they discovered the tea or whatever. But it's just even that getting like studio time that I was paying for was like, come, you don't want to make this track. You don't want to make this money. You don't want to be in this film. Like, what is the deal? So I just kept on and was just like, okay, we're going to finish this song.
Can you tell the audience, who is the song for?
The song is really for anybody who identifies with being self-made. Specifically, I think the inception of the song was for my trans sisters because we are the definition of self-made. Nobody gave us our womanhood. We had to go out and get it and define it for ourselves. But obviously, there's a universal theme there that a lot of people can kind of relate to if you've come from a place of not having a lot and then figuring out like, okay, this is how I'm going to exist in the world. And all that I have right here is me.
The music video will be dropping shortly as well. And, not to plug myself, but as co-director, I know, a lot about the inspiration for the video and whatnot. What can the audience expect from the visual? What's the inspiration behind the Self-Made Bitch video?
Wow, the video was a labor of love. It was very, low budget tease, but turned out great. I have very talented friends like you and Avery Archie who shot it and edited it. We wanted to kind of like show the journey, I guess, the contrast. Like, we shot some in the hills and we shot some around the way, literally on my block. So, and people may have this like idea of how I'm living now that I'm, in entertainment, but I'm not quite there yet. So it's just, for me, it was really important to show like, okay, this is how I'm living, and then this is where I'm going. So
yes.
I think you kind of get that from the video.
And it's great to show that because, sometimes it's like people think, like you said, when you are on TV, when you are, that you're all the way up here. And it's like, no, we're still on the road. We're still on the journey to get to wherever it is you want to go. Because even where you are, some people are just, that's the end of the road for them. And that's great. But it's great to see everyone's journey. I want to ask you, if you were to pick 3 rap divas to be on a track with, who would they be?
Oh, wow. I mean, see, there's the new school girls, and then there's,
okay.
and then there's the the classics.
So why don't you give me 3 new school girls and 3 OG girls, and we'll make it a video.
I mean, new school girls, it would be like Saweetie, Doja, and Cardi. Is that 4? I mean, well, that's 4 of us, but
That's fine.
whatever, we can make it work. Old school, it would be like Kim, obviously, Missy. The last one's hard. Probably Foxy.
You talk a lot about like how Missy inspired you before, when you were growing up. Like, can you talk a little bit more about Missy's inspiration to who Trace is today?
Man, when Missy hit, it was like nothing we had ever seen before, because she came through just so original. There's a lot of people that think they're original, but Missy is truly original. I was always an outsider in terms of like my look and my mannerisms, and just growing up a young queen in Dayton, Ohio, and like fighting my way through school, literally. And when Missy came along, I was just, I don't know, it was just something in my soul that resonated with her otherness. Like, she came with these waves and this style that was just not like anybody else's. And she was unapologetic about everything that she was, whether it was her size or whatever. She radiated like self-love, kind of in the way that Lizzo does now. She was ahead of her time. And I think she's, as a producer and especially as like a video artist, I mean, she's one of the greatest of all time. I remember going to the hair salon and asking my friend, like, yo, can you give me the waves? I'm, like, I need the waves. I need the finger waves. I'm going to school. I wore them like to track meets. I would like wrap my head and wear them for a week and then get them redone. And it was just like, she was everything to me.
Before we even knew each other, and before Pose was even a pilot in the universe, you were part of this little thing we called the Ballroom community. And I want to know, specifically what the Ballroom community means to you, and means to you as a part of your journey as a person.
Yeah, the Ballroom scene is my roots. When I was alone in New York as a fledgling queen, my mother and I were on the rocks. We've come full circle, so I don't like to dwell on all of that. But there was some time there that was really hard, and she had to unlearn some things, and she did, which I applaud her for, because a lot of parents never get it. And she ended up being my biggest cheerleader. But, during that time when I didn't have anybody, the Ballroom scene stepped in. And I remember going to my first ball at the Roxy. Well, that wasn't the first ball. That was the first time I walked. The first ball I went to was probably at Albert's in Jersey City, which was like this little hole-in-the-wall bar. And seeing Jack on the mic and girls walking, which is, for those who don't know ballroom lingo, that's competing. And then eventually walking at the Roxy, and met Stanley that night, Stanley Milan, iconic Stanley Milan, old way or new way voguer, is my father, my chosen father. He's been in my life, and just through the ups and downs. I mean, he is a ride or die, as well as Jack, who stepped in and kind of took me under his wing. I don't think people who watch Pose or who just see the ballroom scene from the outside quite understand the weight of what that is for us who are from it, and who have spent like countless holidays with our house family when we had nowhere else to go, or when there's been a crisis or something where they had to step in. I mean, you can only get so much of it through TV. I think you get a little bit more of it through like documentary, like Paris is Burning. But even that, you can only see so much. So I can't even put into words really what the ballroom scene means to me. I still feel so connected to it.
I want to ask you a little bit more about what you're listening to right now. What is she listening to? What TV shows are you binging? What is she getting into right now?
Ooh, I just binged Bridgerton. And the Duke is really, keeping me going. I love the way that they do diversity in a period like that, and seeing Black people as royals. It's light watching, it's a romance, but it feels good right now in this world that's just so heavy. I really enjoyed Bridgerton. I'm listening to a lot of Doja and Saweetie. I like their new song, Best Friend. And I also listen to my classics, like, you know, I'm an old school R&B girl when I'm around the house. That's just what calms me. Tina Marie, Sade. Why you laughing?
Because I've been in the house when you have it on, and it's
I
just so
in my
funny.
house, old school R&B, Aretha, you know.
I'll be in the living room. I hear you just squawking in the bedroom, singing the song. So what is next for Trace? What's going on? What's the next year looking like for you?
I'm sticking with this whole vibe of attracting the work, the joy, the love to me. That is the foundation for what's next. Because I think I've been running, chasing for so long. I'm turning all that on its head, and I'm understanding that I got me. So if that means taking the reins on projects and kind of being the spark that gets things done, that's what it is. Trans and Trumpland should be dropping in a couple months. Venus as a Boy, hopefully that will find a home. Colors of Ava is doing its thing. I got my single coming out, SMB, and hopefully that will lead to more music. You know, I'm open to whatever comes. I'm just trying to ride the wave.
Say yes to the universe.
Say yes to the universe.